What if I told you that simply stopping unnecessary spending for 1 year could help you save thousands of dollars, break bad shopping habits, and completely change the way you think about money? In this video, we're taking a closer look at the No Buy 2026 challenge to see if it's actually worth doing or if it's just another trend that sounds good on social media but falls apart in real life. And before you decide whether to commit to it yourself, there's one thing you absolutely need to know that most people completely overlook. Hey, I'm Michael, and not that long ago, I realized I was spending money on things I didn't even remember buying. Every month, I'd promise myself I'd cut back. But between impulse purchases, online deals, and little treat-yourself moments, my savings never seemed to grow. That's when I discovered the idea of doing a no-buy challenge. It completely changed the way I looked at spending, and I realized you don't have to deprive yourself to take control of your finances. So in this video, I'll show you what actually works, what doesn't, and whether the No Buy 2026 challenge is really worth it. So let's start with the main question. Is the No Buy 2026 challenge actually worth it? Well, here's the interesting thing. Most people think this challenge is about spending less money, but after reading through dozens of experiences from people who've actually completed a no-buy challenge, that doesn't seem to be the biggest takeaway at all. The money is almost a bonus. What really changes is the way you think every time you're about to spend it. And that shift usually starts with one simple question. Why are you doing this in the first place? See, if your only reason is, I'm broke, or I'm terrible with money, you're already setting yourself up for failure. Those reasons might motivate you for a few days, maybe even a week, but eventually you'll see something you really want. You'll have a stressful day, or you'll convince yourself you've earned a little reward. And that's usually when the challenge falls apart. The people who stick with it tend to have something much bigger driving them. Maybe they're trying to build an emergency fund. Maybe they're saving for a home. Maybe they want to finally get out of debt. Or maybe they're simply tired of wondering where all their money disappears every month. That positive reason gives every decision meaning. Instead of feeling like you're constantly saying no to yourself, you're actually saying yes to something that's much more important. But here's the catch. Having a strong reason doesn't automatically stop impulse buying because motivation fades, which brings us to the next thing almost every successful no-buy participant has in common. They remove as many decisions as possible before the challenge even starts. Think about it. If you're standing in a store holding something in your hand asking yourself, does this count? You've already lost half the battle. That's why people who succeed don't make the rules as they go. They decide them ahead of time. Groceries? Obviously allowed. Utilities? Of course. Replacing something that's genuinely worn out? That's fine too. But clothes because they're on sale? Probably not. Random Amazon purchases? Definitely not. The point isn't to create impossible rules. The point is to remove the constant negotiations happening inside your head. Because once you've made the decision once, you don't have to keep making it every single day. Now, you'd think that would solve the problem, but it doesn't. Because the hardest part isn't actually knowing what you shouldn't buy. It's being reminded to buy things every 5 minutes. A notification pops up. An email says, last chance. TikTok suddenly convinces you that your kitchen absolutely needs another gadget you'll probably use twice. Modern shopping isn't accidental anymore. It's designed to get your attention, which is why one of the smartest things people do during a no-buy challenge has nothing to do with willpower. They delete the shopping apps. They unsubscribe from marketing emails. They turn off notifications. Some even tell their friends and family they're doing the challenge, so they have a little accountability. It sounds almost too simple, but creating even one extra step before making a purchase is often enough to stop an impulse before it happens. And once all those distractions start disappearing, something really unexpected happens. You begin noticing why you wanted to shop in the first place. Maybe every time you felt stressed, you opened Amazon. Maybe boredom meant scrolling online stores. Maybe running errands somehow always ended with a coffee and a few things you never planned to buy. For a lot of people, shopping isn't actually about needing things. It's become entertainment. It's become comfort. Sometimes it's even become a reward. And that's one of the biggest lessons people take away from the challenge. Because once you know your trigger, you can replace it. Instead of retail therapy, maybe it's going for a walk, making your favorite coffee at home, reading, calling a friend, journaling. The habit doesn't disappear overnight, but it slowly stops controlling you. Of course, Even after realizing all of that, you'll still have moments where you genuinely think, no, I really need this. And that's where one surprisingly simple trick comes in. Instead of buying it, write it down. Seriously, just put it on a wish list. Don't promise yourself you'll buy it later. Just give yourself time. A week, maybe until the end of the month. What's fascinating is how often people come back to those lists and realize they don't even want half the things they thought they absolutely needed. It turns out distance is one of the best cures for impulse buying. What feels urgent today often feels completely unnecessary a few weeks later, and that's when the challenge starts paying off in ways most people never expect. Yes, you'll probably save money, sometimes a lot more than you imagined, because once you start tracking those little purchases you almost made, you realize just how quickly $5 here and $20 there quietly snowball into hundreds every month. But honestly, the money isn't even the biggest win. People often talk about feeling lighter, their homes feel less cluttered, there are fewer packages arriving, less stuff to organize, less cleaning, less stress. Instead of constantly thinking about the next thing to buy, they start appreciating the things they already own, and maybe the biggest change of all, they finally feel in control. Instead of wondering where their paycheck disappeared to, they're deciding where it goes. That feeling of confidence ends up lasting much longer than the excitement of any impulse purchase ever could. Now, if all of this sounds great, there's one final thing you need to know. You're probably going to mess up. Almost everyone does, and honestly, I did. Maybe you'll buy something you didn't need. Maybe you'll break one of your own rules. The mistake isn't buying that one thing. The mistake is deciding that because you slipped once, the challenge is over. Think about it this way. If you eat one unhealthy meal while trying to eat better, you don't throw away a month of progress. You simply make a better choice at your next meal. A no-buy challenge works exactly the same way. Progress beats perfection every single time. The goal was never to become someone who never spends money. The goal is becoming someone who spends money intentionally, and that's a much more realistic goal to achieve. So let's go back to the question we started with. Is the No Buy 2026 challenge actually worth it? If you're expecting it to magically fix your finances overnight, probably not. But if you're looking for a way to break the cycle of impulse spending, understand your habits, save more without feeling deprived, and completely rethink your relationship with money, then yes, it's absolutely worth trying. Because in the end, the biggest thing you'll gain probably won't be a bigger bank balance. It'll be the confidence that you're finally the one making decisions about your money, instead of your habits making them for you. Completing a no-buy challenge can free up hundreds or even thousands of extra dollars. But here's the question, where should that money actually go? Should you pay off debt first? Build an emergency fund? Start investing? In the next video, I'll show you the smartest order to invest your money so you can make the most of every dollar you save. Click on the video on your screen, and I'll see you there.